Hi again. Today, I'm going to focus on the why we teach compassion. And honestly, it's a little hard for me to answer this question in a concise way because I think everyone is going to connect to compassion a little bit differently. And I love that about it. So, as you're listening and processing what I'm sharing, I would love for you to reflect on what is your why? What connects you to compassion? Because if we move from there, then we are grounded and we feel like we're more connected to the different actions we take in however you may be supporting our organization. But I'm going to start by speaking a little bit to my personal experience and then share some local and national data as well as speak to kind of our vision. So I know that for me, before I had a compassion practice, I held some really terrible thoughts about myself, and my mental health suffered. I did not know how to be kind to myself. I was relentless in my work and school, building up all of my self worth on grades, on achievements, and on winning other people's approval. But that form of self worth isn't healthy or sustainable. It's incredibly brittle and toxic because it doesn't come from within. And when I felt crappy, I self isolated because I felt so bad about myself that I thought, I am the only one who could possibly feel this way. So, a compassion practice and a mindfulness practice helped me look at these thoughts without judgment and start to learn how to write a new script, one that was true and one that was kind. The difficult thoughts have, yes, they've slowed down, but they're still there sometimes. Again, that's part of being human. And again, this is going to look a little different for everybody. But the important thing is that when those thoughts arrive, I can talk to them and I can let them know that they don't serve the best version of myself. And in some way, they're there to protect me. But now I know that I can offer different forms of protection to myself through self compassion. Um, and when I'm feeling this way, right, like when I'm feeling down, I know now with my compassion practice that I'm not the only one who feels this way. And instead of self isolating, I actually reach out and forge deeper relationships through my own honesty and vulnerability. And so, this is what compassion can do to build relationships with self, relationships with others. So, going a little bit more into this relationship with others, not only am I sharing now from a more authentic place and creating more trust and deeper relationships, I'm also, because I'm kinder to myself, because I have more grace for myself, because I hold less judgment and shame about who I am. I actually feel that way about others as well. I give others more grace. Um, I harbor less judgment and fewer assumptions about other people. And I don't project my own shame on other people. Um, so that's just a little bit about how my compassion practice and my mindfulness practice has supported my journey on mental health and has really, brought more color, more richness, more fulfillment to all of my relationships. And again, it's a journey. I haven't perfected this, but in a matter of, even a few days, a few months, and now a few years, of doing this work, I've felt a tremendous difference in myself. So I have led hundreds, maybe thousands of people through our workshops at this point. And the vast majority of people in these workshops where we're painting, drawing, doing ceramics, writing, say things like, I'm not good at art. I'm not very creative. I don't think I can draw or paint, or I can't remember the last time that I picked up a pencil or a paintbrush. Society has baked so much fear into us, squandering our imagination and our courage to create and to dream. And I see this in the workshops. And so when we open ourselves up to the creative process and we hold a non-judgmental creative space for people, we are reclaiming a piece of our humanity that was taken from us, especially as adults. You'll see kids are just up to a certain age are really good about this, right? But then as we're exposed to more and more external pressure and peer pressure and media, that this imaginative piece of us tends to get shamed and cast away. So doing this work with adults is really meaningful. And yeah, I love it. So again, it's not about being a good artist, whatever good means. It is about reclaiming a piece of who we are and who we can be. In our workshops, we're building the muscles to say, I'm not afraid of making a mistake. I'm going to make a mess. I'm going to try something new. And I'm going to be compassionate with myself and others as I do that. And that creative part of our brain actually helps light up the more compassionate, empathetic part of our brain, which is pretty cool. So to build a compassionate world, we have to imagine it first. And it was Walt Disney who said, if you dream it, you can do it. But what about data? I'm going to share some data around the need for compassion. So for this part, go ahead and take a few deep breaths. I really want you to get grounded as we go into some heavy information here. Okay, so do whatever you need to feel grounded here. I'm just going to share some statistics. 1 in 5 Montanans has been told they have a depressive disorder by a mental health professional. 1 in 5. 41% of Montana high school students have reported symptoms of depression. 41%. And that's the highest rate ever documented. A 2020 study found that loneliness is on the rise, with 3 out of 5 Americans feeling lonely and having fewer close relationships. 3 out of 5 Americans. Montana consistently has one of the highest suicide rates in the country, sometimes double the national average. And lastly, rates of harmful behavior, also called bullying. We don't love the word bullying, but what we're really focusing on here is not the people, but the behavior, hover around 20% in our country. And we know that student populations that have been marginalized are the survivors of these incidences of bullying or harmful behavior more often. So students living with disabilities, students of color, students who identify or are perceived as LGBTQ+. These students have so much potential, but because of the harmful behavior, happening in schools and this lack of compassion, they are disproportionately put at risk and treated unfairly. And we know that over the course of someone's life, if they're exposed to more of these behaviors, if they're surviving more of these incidences, that their physical and mental health are at greater risk as well. So things like trouble sleeping, trouble eating, anxiety, depression, stress, self-harm behaviors, these sorts of things are more likely to crop up having survived these hardships. So we support a variety of ways of tackling mental health. We know Montana needs to combat the stigma of mental health. We know that we need more care providers. We know that we need increased access and affordability. We need more peer support groups. So we need a full spectrum of options that are culturally appropriate and trauma-informed and specific to people's individual needs. So please support groups working on this issue of mental health. There's so many great causes, and we encourage you to support, take action on this issue. When it comes to our organization, as a small yet mighty organization, we want to be part of the solution by helping people realize, everyday people realize that they already have an impact on mental health. So let's make that impact a compassionate one, a positive one, by opening up conversations about discrimination, food and housing insecurity, gender inclusivity, job stress, climate crisis, like all these things that are the root causes of a lot of the mental health suffering that takes place in our world. We want to open up those doors compassionately, allowing people to have conversations that are more connective, right, and more authentic. So teaching compassion is about building work, family, and school cultures that can have tough conversations without casting each other out, without burning each other down, and without becoming paralyzed by difference. We're talking about letting go of punitive and punishing ways of being in community and embracing moving through struggles together with our humanity, with our dignity, and with our integrity intact. We're talking about creating conditions for solutions to emerge because we can actually listen to one another. We can better understand one another, and we can work across difference. So we could provide our curriculum to every school and every youth organization in Montana if we had the funding we needed. We could bring parents, teachers, and students together through this shared language of compassion, inspiring a generation of compassionate citizen leaders. Will you dream big with us? Will you take action with us? My ask of you today is to set up a monthly donation on behalf of our organization so that we can plan and be here for the long haul. Hopefully, in hearing this video and hearing some stories and statistics on mental health and all the different things connected to mental health, you've somehow found your connection, your why to teaching and spreading compassion. So thank you so much. Please stay tuned for the next video where I'm going to go more into the details and the challenges we face around fundraising. Thank you.